Hi everyone, uh, good day. Today Evernote announced that they have a new product dedicated page uh, for product communications. But as I say this, I'm just reminded going back a bit in time to see how things have changed. I just want to revoke some of the experiences that I have personally faced in these last 2 years, just to give a perspective of where Evernote stands today. So around 2 years back, Evernote was purchased by Bending Spoons, and there was a total shift in terms of thinking, management, scale, operations, and a lot of things. Things were very different from the old Evernote team and what is now the new Evernote team. So at that point in time, when Federico had taken over as product lead and he was taking charge of Evernote, it was a very rough time. There was a lot of negative press, and it was quite understandable. There were layoffs, and there was a huge price increase, and so understandably that there was a lot of negativity around it. And the other thing was that people were still stuck emotionally to the legacy client, which was being supported even then. The legacy clients' days had been marked, even in the period of Ian Small, saying that it was inevitably going to disappear. But for some reasons, Evernote held on, maybe to ensure a smoother transition before V10 stabilized. So the legacy clients still continued to be supported, and there were a huge number of people who were not willing to let go of the emotional connectivity with legacy, or even for reasons for they kind of got used to a certain kind of experience, which is where each client and legacy was custom code written. But these came from a very old code base dating almost 20 years, and understandably, it was getting very difficult to keep the legacy clients together. And you can see that problems connected with legacy were coming not just after bending spoons, but even after 2015. It became very difficult. There was a lot of tech debt, and it was getting very difficult to match feature parity. And this was also the time when Evernote really lost its market share, and the newer players came about: Notion, Obsidian, and so on and so forth. So at the time when Evernote was acquired, Evernote was anyways in very much a downward spiral. They weren't making money, which is probably why they were sold out. And so after this new management comes over, so there's a lot of negativity associated. And so as at that point in time, as an Evernote certified expert, I was fortunate to see some of the scenes, some of the things that were happening behind the scenes to very minuscule extent. So there were also situations when Evernote was making quite a few improvements, but this was also a phase where they were kind of study the foundation, study the code base. This was a new team that had taken over, and understandably that. So when there were some changes being made, they were also messing up temporary patches that had been put together by the older team. And that particular year, understandably, there was a lot of the performance was very sluggish. And more things, it appeared then at that stage that things were worsening. The performance was worsening, there were more bugs. And Evernote it was very difficult to justify using Evernote back then. This is around like maybe 2 years ago. And in one of our meetings, like Evernote would make some of these amazing changes, which we had some certain amount of access to. And if my memory goes right, I think it was the early stages of RTE, real time editing. Real time editing had already been partially developed by the older Evernote team, but they kind of left it half going, and this team had finished up that work, and we had an early access, and it was really like phenomenal. But Evernote was not talking anything about any of these changes that we were making, and we as experts were saying like it's very important to have a proper communications channel. You guys are not updating on YouTube, you guys are not updating on social media, nothing, and there's only negativity everywhere social media. And that was also one of the time when I, being a member of the r slash Evernote, the parent sub of Evernote, found the negativity getting beyond a point wherein I moved and started my own sub r slash Evernote Positive. So that was also incidentally why Evernote Positive came to be. Of course, now things are slightly different at our Evernote r slash Evernote. Things are much more in a much better space. But just for clarification. So this went on for a period. Things were very sluggish, things were very difficult. Evernote was making a lot of changes. They were making a lot of positive changes, but it was not showing up on the user front. The users were not able to see the gains in terms of reduced bug fixes, or the performance just kept getting worse and worse. And then there came a certain transition period after the team had studied the code base and all that. And then they slowly started pulling out entire modules and reworking on modules. And a calendar, for one, was one thing that immediately comes to mind. Templates, the very recent templates, the earlier version of templates was an absolute mess, and now things have improved. So then Evernote went on. They once they had studied, they had consolidated their understanding of the code base. Then they went on this quality of life series where things were added at real rapid pace, and things got better. There were major redesigns. Mobile was an absolute mess, and they redid a lot of things. The new nav bar was introduced. They got a lot of feedback, user feedback. There were several iterations that were taken from feedback from the public and from social media, and Federico and his team worked on it. And today mobile is an absolute joy to work with. The performance is improved very much, and the nav bar is designed in a way that it's scalable, that even if Evernote adds more features, the navbar will still support it. There's also the customization element that has come in. Similarly, you can see that on the left side bar as well. So after things started going well, then Evernote started getting into the communications, improving on the communications. So earlier what would happen is they would make some of these changes and improvements, and it would not even be reflected on the release notes. And then slowly they started updating their official release notes page. And after the release notes page, then Federico started being active on Twitter, X, and he would get a lot of feedback from users, and a lot of that feedback was taken, constructive feedback was taken, and improved the product. And the best example for that is the mobile's nav bar. And then Federico started this monthly series on YouTube, the monthly recap. That was also very, very successful. And then Evernote had a separate bug fix tracker. So that was an official URL where any user can check on that URL and see what is the status of the various bugs, and what is the improvements and fixes that have been done for the bug fix tracker. So and there's one more thing I can't recollect. Um, yeah, and of course the blog. The blog had been long abandoned. The official Evernote blog had not been updated, but now Evernote keeps even updating the official blog every time there's a major improvement, or every quarter, and they keep consolidating all of these positive improvements, the bugs that have been taken down, the performance improvements, the new features that have been added, and generally Evernote is becoming very, very public facing now, and it's becoming, the transparency level has increased and improved. Yeah, there are certain things which Evernote can do a lot better, but in general the communications element has improved very much from where Evernote, Bending Spoons took over Evernote, and today they've launched. Federico has announced on Twitter that Evernote now has a dedicated product update page. So you will get all informations like explorations, what are the features in progress, what is rolling out soon, and other improvements and other announcements. And the page is very well designed and looks fantastic. And I think this is a right way. The communications is improved immensely, and Evernote is doing a really, really good job. Yeah. And if you like this video, like this post, subscribe, share, and visit our sub on r/Evernote Positive. Have a nice positive day. Thank you.